And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to take this evening to the next level of excitement, the next level of energy, as we are all set to award, acknowledge, and applaud truly inspiring stories of our times. So first up, if I may please request Mr. M.K. Chauhan to please share the overview of the awards for 2014 with all of us present here. Sir?
Actually, I don't want to come between you and the awardees. I would simply say that it was a thought which was sowed in our mind by our Global Advisory Board Chairman, Mr. Mervyn King, 5 years after we came into being. Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability was launched on 14th March 2001 to be precise. And it was after 5 years, that is in 2006, that Mervyn felt that we have gathered enough credibility of having done some bit of work in the area of corporate governance and sustainability. And it's about time we should start recognizing the individuals as well as the companies who are upholding the principles of good governance and sustainable businesses and responsible businesses. That is when we begin giving these awards. Our knowledge partner is Deloitte, and you will hear from them what is the process of award. You will also hear the criteria of these awards. All I want to do is I want to recognize the contribution by the jury members, and that's about it. Mr. N. Chandrasekaran, all of you know, is the CEO and Managing Director of TCS. His contribution was absolutely excellent, I must say, because he was engaged right from the beginning. He took very active part in the discussions when it was needed. He encouraged almost every jury member to come up with their thoughts. So thank you, Chandra, for being such an excellent chairman. I also want to place on record that the luster to these awards is added by the eminent personalities whom we confer these awards with, and the chairman who chair these award committees. The convention for last 8 years has been that the winner of the Transformational Leader Award becomes the chairman of the jury in the succeeding year. So I am dropping a hint to Dilip Bhai Shangvi, the 2015 award committee, he will have to be the jury. So Dilip Bhai, I am staking a claim on your time 1 year in advance. The other jury members is Mr. R. Ramakrishnan, who is the Vice Chairman and Joint Managing Director of Polycab. Ram has been very active, not only as a jury member, but as a close-knit network of Asian Center for Corporate Governance for several years. Thank you, Ram, for your time and inputs. We don't only talk about diversity and empowering women, and we don't only value their presence on the board, but even in the awards jury, we saw to it that out of the 11 jury members, there were 3 women jury members. And Indu Shahani, who is an academician, unfortunately she is in the United States, former sheriff, was a member of the jury. Kalpana Moparia, again, she's also away to US, she couldn't be with us. And Ms. Renuka Ramanath. These were the 3 ladies who were a part of the jury. Unfortunately, Renuka is in town, but she couldn't make it because there are some very important meetings, and she couldn't wriggle out of those meetings. So in absentia, I want to extend my profuse thanks to all these 3 jury members. We have Louis Miranda with us, and Louis, though is a former IDFC, he understands and smells money, but by choice, he has gone into the civil sector, civil society sector, so we thought he'll bring some different perspectives as a jury member. Thanks, Louis, for your inputs. Santrup Mishra from Aditya Birla Group, one of the rare HRD professional who has risen to the CEO position and in a group like Aditya Birla. Unfortunately for us, but fortunately for him, Aditya Birla Group itself has got some award function today internally, and therefore Santrup couldn't be with us. So thanks to Santrupt in absentia. Shashi Kiran Shetty is with us from Al Cargo, is one of the India's largest logistics company. Thank you, Shashi. Actually, I must place it on record that it was on the suggestion and instance of Shashi that we thought of giving 2 awards on the company with company with the best CSR and sustainability practices, one in private sector and one in public sector. Hold your breath till we announce who these companies are. Mr. Humayun Rajgir as our Global Advisory Board member and has always been so supportive. Our journey together has been 14 long years now. Thank you, sir, for all your support. And Mr. Uday Khanna. Uday has been with us again he was also last year a member of our jury committee. Uday is the chairman of the Bata India. Till recently he was chairman of Lafarge. Thank you, Uday. And he is a Unilever solid citizen. Thank you for your inputs and support today. With these words, over to Minoti. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Could I please request Mr. P.R. Ramesh, Chairman, Deloitte Haskins and Sells, to please come up on stage and share the award selection process with all of us present here. Sir.
Thank you. Pleasure in sharing the award selection process. As with any award selection process, it begins by, in this case, the Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability team preparing a list of the recommended nominees based on their research and presenting it to the jury members along with the profiles of the nominees. The chairman of the awards committee then invites comments from each of the jury members on those recommendations. In case there is any negative sentiment or discomfort in relation to any of the nominees, that name is dropped out. The chairman then invites the jury members to come up with their own recommendations so that newer names can be added to the existing list. Thereafter, of course, there's a free and frank discussion. And often, or sometimes, when there is no clear unanimity, the chairman requests each jury member to pick 2 or 3 names and rank them as the first recommended name, the second, and the third. The Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability then collates all these preferences, and the nominee with the highest number of votes for the first preference is then chosen. There has been a tradition here of to avoid giving an award in absentia, and therefore 2 nominees are chosen for each award. The chairman or any member of the jury who knows the awardee very well then contacts the nominee and receives the consent to be present on the day of the award ceremony. In case the first nominee is not available, then they move on to the second nominee and the call is made to the second nominee, and that's how the final list is made. Immediately after the awards committee meeting, the chairman then sends out the email to each award winner. My congratulations to the award winners, and thank you, Chairman, for the honor.
Could I please request Mr. N. Venkatram, Managing Partner, Deloitte India, to please come up on stage to share the award criteria.
I have a fairly long list of the criteria, so I'll keep it short. For the best governed company, the questions asked and deliberated on are how well is the company governed, how are the board meetings conducted, what does the board agenda include, risk management, etc. It goes in more granular. For example, when you say how well is the company governed, it deals with how the chairman or CEO lead by example, separation of the positions of chairman and the managing director, the mix of independent whole-time directors, orientation and training of directors, etc. The second area is on the best audit committee. And there again, it covers the meetings, the rigor around financial reporting, internal control processes and how the board the audit committee does its evaluation, risk assessment and management oversight, and how the audit committee understands the business and finance risks, compliance with laws and regulations, internal audit processes, and the statutory audit processes. For the award for the company, the best CSR and sustainability practices, criteria include extra financial criteria, company endorsement, the marketing tools used, the measurement and metrics, and the level of involvement of the company to CSR. For the best independent director, the criteria include personal qualities, the role of the independent director in strategy, his role as a knowledge builder and provider, as a reflective listener, his role as a challenger, a creative thinker, a safety valve, a custodian, and a corporate governance evangelist. And for the award of Best Transformational Leader, the criteria include orchestrating wins as to whether the individual has met his or her business targets, turnover and growth percentages, and the individual's personal contribution, strategizing, i.e., does the individual reflect belief in his own strategies? How does he motivate the organization and the individuals and employees? Communication of the expectations of the organization and of the strategy, independence and rationality, support and personal attention to employees and appreciation of their work, eminence in society, media, and the government, and levels of involvement in CSR activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to begin with our award ceremony for this year, and would like to request our chief guest for today's summit, Mr. Philip Armstrong, to please do us the honors of presenting all the awards. Our first award for today is the Best Women Director 2014 Award. And if I may please request Mrs. Anita Chauhan, Executive Trustee, Mahindra & Young Foundation, and Head Sustainability Training, ACCGS, to please come up on stage to read the citation for the Best Women Director Award.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Best Women Director 2014. She is the turnaround queen of banks and the first woman to become head of a public sector bank in India when she joined as chairman and managing director of Indian Bank, a 95-year-old bank owned by the government of India, and managed one of the most significant turnarounds in performance in history of banking in India. With a pathwaking approach to restructuring plan of bringing unions and associations to agree to give a free hand to the management, she ensured the buy-in and accountability of her officers and staff by involving and empowering them, leading to informed and quick decision-making. Indian Bank, considered one of the weakest banks then, under her stewardship, turned around successfully, achieving all the targets set under the restructuring plan, including bringing the gross NPA down from 43% to 15% in less than 2 years. She took over as chairperson of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, at a time when the institution was ailing and at crossroads, and brought clarity and impetus to its role as Apex Agriculture Refinance Institution. She's also been the Vigilance Commissioner of Central Vigilance Commission, Government of India. A voracious reader and an eloquent speaker, she has shared her Indian Bank turnaround story in a book by the same name and addressed various forums in India and abroad, including Wharton School, Stanford University, World Bank, ISB, IITs, IIMs, and Asia Society, New York. After serving the government of India and its people for 44 years and receiving many accolades and awards for her outstanding contribution, she now brings her unique strengths, capabilities, and clarity of vision to the stakeholders of the companies whose boards she serves. A strategic thinker with a keen business sense, she is known and respected for her straightforward approach and sincerity of intent, for exercising the qualities of independence of thought, integrity, and courage, and for upholding good corporate governance principles, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability is proud to honor Ms. Ranjana Kapoor with the Best Women Director Award 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Kumar.
Just a correction, that's a slip of tongue. Ms. Ranjana Kumar. Apologies. Please come.
Mr. Philip Armstrong, Mr. Chandrasekharan, Mr. Chauhan, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a great honor, this award. I really cherish this, and coming at such a late stage in my life, I thought that, I had got into the business of being independent directors on boards, but I never really, it was a great surprise when I got a call from Mr. Chandrasekharan that this award was given, so thank you very much, highly indebted. To say a few words, I'd only like to tell you that for me it has been 4.5 decades in the financial sector with the Government of India, having dealt with 5 different assignments, which included the Bank of India. Apart from what the lady mentioned, it was Bank of India which I joined when I came in, and then followed by the Canara Bank, which I headed for some time, and then an assignment overseas. But other than that, as you know what happens in a public sector, I have worked across 7 different states in India and had an overseas posting where I headed the US operations of Bank of India. Unlike our counterparts in the private sector who normally stay stationed in the business capital of the country. Anyway, going through these experiences have been a tremendous learning for me, and learning in the sense that's built up much greater responsibility, much greater discipline in my way of working, tremendous amount of tenacity. I believe I can speak like this at this time, and of course, alertness in my way of working, because you're all the time in your, have that pressure of taking decisions. Handling the home front was also another very big challenge since I was working in different states, I mentioned to you. And as you would know that there are several pre-requirements for being successful in your business or work or service, whatever you have. And one of the most important ones is that your life at home should be happy and peaceful. That was another very big challenge which had to be faced. And basically, at that moment, there were not many, there are not many women as role models. So it was in the process of learning. We were all learning. And therefore, I always felt that I should need a more cautious approach towards whatever I would take up. A cautious approach, but not at the cost of problem solving, not at the cost of, solution, not cost of being a solution finder for the company, because I was always advocated that, yes, you can raise issues, you can raise concerns, you can raise questions, but ultimately you should be a solution finder. You cannot hold up things in any organizations, because that would be highly counterproductive and detrimental to the work of the company. But early on in my career, I also, I think more out of necessity, realized that you need to check your thoughts from time to time. you need to check your thoughts. What I mean is to delete the unproductive, the negative. It happens, when you're in a system. More being a woman at that time, when you didn't have so many women. So there were a lot of questions being asked when I went out to different places to work. Was I getting too ambitious? Was that right? Was it good for my children, for my family? Because, basically we still belong to the old school of thought saying that she has. But I realized that as in each assignment came up, I realized my own potential, that yes, and that's what I learned, and that's what I've been telling my people, that take up opportunities, seize opportunities. You'll realize, you'll be surprised by your own potential which comes out and she shows you the way, and not in any way diluting any of your values with which you have grown up. In fact, those become even more firm within you. So, this is how the time went. Then my first experience as a director on the board was what I started was when in '99 when I was started first with Canara Bank. I was chairman of the board at that. I was basically holding concurrent charge as chairman, but that went on for more than 15 months, and I think Mr. Damodaran was very happy with the performance of Canara Bank, so he didn't bring an NIU chairman at that time. So 15 months as holding joint responsibility as executive director and chairman, I believe that was one of the own solitary cases of its kind. And thereafter, but the Indian Bank, which you already heard now, and then followed by NABARD. And one of the things which I realized and I was used to do is, before actually going on to the actual agenda, the agenda for the board meeting, I would take about 20 to 25 minutes and I would talk about the various developments which have taken in the organization since the last board meeting. And these would be, I would share with them good news, not so good news, the challenges, the areas of concern, the opportunities which have come up, because I realized that to take the board along, you need to keep them apprised from time to time to make them understand the situation. After all, board meetings are held once in 2 months and on an average, maybe 6 to 7 times a year. And not all directors attend all meetings. And therefore, to keep the directors involved, updated on things, is extremely, extremely important. And then, another thing at that time I felt was that the meetings should continue over a period of time. So it's not that we stopped at lunch. We used to continue if there was a need for it. The conclusion of the meeting should not depend on a flight which has to take off at a particular period of time, but give enough time. As chairman of the board, I would not show any restlessness or impatience when questions were asked, but give due time to each one. As an independent director, my role came a decade after that, sometime in 2010. And now with the New Companies Act, but even otherwise, I think it's a tremendous responsibility as an independent director, and you should also, also accept accountability for that. What's very important is that you should know the business well. You should know the company well, of the company which you are an independent director on. Not only the company, but also the industry. How is the industry faring? And how do you, what I'm saying is ask the right questions at the right time. It's very important. Do your homework well, apply enough time. It's not easy. As I said, there is, go through the papers, do your homework well, ask the right questions at the right time, and that becomes something extremely important. When I was talking of deletion of unproductive thoughts from the mind, one of the reasons I felt that works is because, you have clarity of mind. Extremely important in whatever role you play, that you have total clarity of mind so that decisions are taken fast and decisions are taken effectively. Both ways, you take care of that. Now, if you ask somebody what is the definition of an independent director. I was looking up and it says that, and what should he function as? An independent director should function, they say, as a watchdog. Now, if you go by the literal meaning of a watchdog, you should have policemen on boards, but that's not the intention. But the intention is not, I would look at it, the intention is that the independent directors, by virtue of their experience, their expertise, their acumen, their exposure, should be able to contribute in a very meaningful manner to the progress and the development of the company, all the time ensuring that it is done on ethical lines and with the required transparency. To ethical lines and transparency, extremely important to finally add value to the shareholder. I think that is something becomes very important. Having women on boards, well, if it's gender diversity is what you said, right? Gender diversity is all right, but if you say women are more accomplished than men or women are less, I don't know how to put that. But as I was sitting here and I was hearing Mr. Armstrong, I was reminded, is it okay? Can I speak for a little while? Oh, sure. Okay. Since I was the only woman, I thought I might as well. So I was reminded that it was in 2003 that the India Today had a very nice platform. They had a survey, they had a panel discussion, and I was one of them, and they were on whether women in management are women less corrupt than men. Nobody talked of corruption today. Maybe you talked it earlier. So are women less corrupt than men? It was very interesting. This was 11 years ago. And it was said that some of the women in the panel, and I do not wish to mention anyone at this point, said that no, women can't be corrupt because, she's a mother and she's gracious and this, she's that, and she has to teach her children and she has to be a model, so she can't be corrupt. But some of us thought otherwise. And I said in those days, when there were fewer women, we were asked to talk about 20 years of the past, so, it's like 30 years behind. And said that, the women really, especially in the financial sector. Financial sector is long working hours always. You cannot get home before, 7:30, whatever it is. And said that it's not, when they come back home, they're too tired and they have to, again the responsibility of the homemaker comes up. And she'd like to do something for her children. She'd like to spend time with them, whether to study, whether to cook something quickly, or even just spend time with them. So she has no time to go to clubs or even to go to what is the place where normally people do deals? I don't know. Maybe the golf courses. She has no time for that. And therefore, maybe she's given time, maybe things would be different. So it's a question of, it's not a question of what is. I think traditionally they have been very responsible. They are also, one thing which they may ask questions, but they want quick decisions. They want quick decisions because they want to get on with things. And that's one of the qualities which women have. And finally, I think I read the other day somewhere that recent statistics which were taken of companies with women on boards showed that there was a significant increase in the ROE, in the return on equity, where you had women directors on board. And that's something good. So, finally, I think it was a wise man who said that when you want something discussed, ask a man. But when you want something done, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very, very much, ma'am. Heartiest congratulations and truly inspiring words. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to move on to our next award, which is the Lifetime Achievement in Corporate Governance. Could I please request Mr. Louis Miranda, former chairman, IDFC Equity Private Limited, to please come up on stage to read the citation for this award category. Sir.
Lifetime Achievement Award in Corporate Governance 2014. Mr. Vagul is undoubtedly one of India's finest visionaries today, known for his ability to build institutions and galvanize people for right causes. He belongs to the rare breed of leaders who inspire by action and walk the talk. His uniqueness lies in the people and institutions he has nurtured and built, the values and principles he is able to inspire in those around him by consistently and continuously supporting the good and the right, irrespective from whom or where it comes. He is indeed a strong role model for young aspiring professionals to look up to. Mr. Vago started his career as an officer in the State Bank of India. His people and problem-solving abilities quickly took him from being the director of the National Institute of Bank Management to becoming one of India's youngest chairman and managing director of the Bank of India at the age of 44. In 1985, he was appointed as chairman of the Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, now ICICI Bank, and played a catalytic role in growing the organization from a small-sized development financial institution to a large, diversified financial conglomerate. He is credited with laying the foundation for the development of the universal banking model. He started the first venture capital company in India in 1987, which has now become a large venture capital company. He also set up ICICI Securities, an investment banking company. He pioneered the concept of credit rating in India by setting up CRISIL and was the founder chairman of CRISIL for close to 10 years and helped in evolving the best practices of credit rating in the country. He also served as a consultant to the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation, and the Asian Development Bank. Mr. Vago was presented the Businessman of the Year award in 1991 by Business India and the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Times publication. More recently, he was conferred the third highest civil honor, the Padma Bhushan, by the Government of India for his services to the banking industry and to society. He brings his 50 years of rich and diverse experience in the banking and financial services industry to the companies on whose boards he now serves as the director. He continues to provide guidance, funds, inspire people, and attract like-minded people on board organizations. A staunch believer and an advocate of giving back to society, he has been closely associated with the setting up and running of several philanthropic organizations such as Pratham, Give India, and the Azim Premji Foundation that work in the realm of education, health, and livelihood. He is a visiting professor at the Stern Business School at New York University. He is a great orator, and his speeches on banking and spiritualism are his specialties. For his yeoman service to the cause of good corporate governance and inspirational leadership, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability is privileged to present the Lifetime Achievement Award in Corporate Governance to Mr. Narayanan Vago.
Thank you, Philip, Mr. Chandra, Mahendra Chauhan. I just want to say thank you very much for this honor that was conferred on me. I don't know whether I am worthy of the honor, but if jury as eminent as the one which has been read found that I am worthy of it, I accept it with all humility. I have nothing much to say because I don't know much about myself. And I was talking and there is only one point I want to make. Damodaran made a point that has given me a hint. I left most of the boards in which I was director. I am still hanging on to a couple of boards. The reason is the New Companies Act has said that if you want to resign from the board, you have to give a reason for that. Whether the conferment of the Lifetime Achievement Award would be a good reason for that, acceptable to the stock exchange, I really do not know. If that is considered a good reason, if Damodaran confirms it, I think that would resolve my problem. Thank you very much once again for this wonderful opportunity. I like the citation which Louis said, but I think you must add one, that most of it are not very relevant. But you must add that when I was chairman of ICICI Bank, particularly in the context of what happened this afternoon, I must mention this. that of the top 20 officers of the bank, no more than 12 people were women. And that constitutes 60%. And most of the women who happen to be in the ICICI Bank happen to head all the names that you mentioned, Renuka, Kalpana, they were all there in the part of the 12. I think that, in fact, makes a substantial difference. Whether that happened by accident or by design, I can't say, but it happened. And that made a lot of difference to the ICICI Bank. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, please. We'd like you to please join our dignitaries on the dais for some time. And moving on with our next award, which is the Best Audit Committee Award 2014. Could I please request Mr. Humayun Dhanrajgir, Member, Global Advisory Board, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability, to please come up for the citation.
Good afternoon. I'd like to preface this award with a few words. It's a special privilege for me and an honor to be reading the citation because the late chairman of Dr. Anji Reddy Laboratories was a personal friend of mine. I knew him for over 25 years and was very privileged when he invited me to walk through his research facilities in Hyderabad. And that's where I think all his original work has begun, and he's come out with a few new chemical entities. So with those few words, I'd like to read the Best Audit Committee Award 2014. It is the responsibility of the Audit Committee to ensure that appropriate risk management systems and internal controls are in place and working. While performing this key responsibility, the role of the committee becomes critical for delivering transparency and accountability through its disclosures to its shareholders as well as stakeholders. The challenges for Audit Committee are many and complex. The Audit Committee of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited has successfully met these challenges along with their management team through consistent oversight processes and strong risk identification, assessment and mitigation mechanisms. The Audit Committee members have followed the global best practices in the true spirit of good governance, thus earning commitment and admiration from their shareholders, stakeholders and peers. In recognition of their commitment to best practices of good governance, the Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability is proud to confer the Best Audit Committee Award 2014 to Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited on this day. Thank you.
Could I please request Mr. Sridhar Iyengar to please come up on stage to receive the honor? Sir.
I'll keep my remarks brief as well. For me, it's deja vu all over again, in the sense that this is the third audit committee of which I've been a member, which has been conferred this award. And the one thing I would mention is, Ms. Kumar talked about the role of the independent director. I think the role of the audit committee is often, you sometimes feel that everything is put on their plate, as if no other committee exists, in the organization, and so you've got to create that balance of looking at the numbers more in the nitty-gritty, the plumbing part of it, rather than in the business part of it and leave that to the board. So the question of discipline. I'll just finish my remarks by saying that, I believe in the audit committee's role is basically, and the role of any independent director, is to actually do what my uncle always tells me. He used to tell me, Sridhar, in life, you can make things happen, but you can never prevent something from happening. So you look to the areas in which something can go wrong. Or in the word of our I come from the US, word of our famous or infamous, depending on your point of view, defense secretary, there are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and there are unknown unknowns. And I always find the challenge for an audit committee is actually to try to identify and move as many of the unknown unknowns to the known unknowns, and then start working on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Archie's congratulations to you. Our next award is for the company with the best CSR and sustainability practices 2014. Could I please request Mr. R. Ramakrishnan, Vice Chairman, Polycab Wires Limited, to please come up on stage to read the citation.
Company with the Best CSR and Sustainability Award 2014. One of India's largest IT consulting and system integration services company and 7th largest IT services firm globally, with a presence in 61 countries and market capitalization of approximately $21 billion, it believes in the power to do good through leadership in thought and action on key societal issues to make lasting impact towards creating a just, equitable, humane, and sustainable society. It engages with its stakeholders in 4 core areas of concern: education, healthcare, environment, and disaster rehabilitation. Education being a powerful multiplier for social change, it has been deeply committed to and engaged with primary education and skill development. Since 2003, it has informed and influenced public opinion on education policy through advocacy, experience sharing, and research through its partner network of 30 educational organizations, 2,000 schools, 10,500 educators across 7 states, impacting the lives of 800,000 students by engaging with 700 schools. The Mission 10X, its not-for-profit trust, works towards enhancing the employability skills of engineering graduates by collaborating with faculties on innovative teaching techniques, and has empowered over 23,000 engineering faculty members in 1,200 engineering colleges across 25 states in India. The Eco-Eye initiative focuses on reducing ecological footprints across all its businesses through stretch targets for energy efficiency, water efficiency, waste and pollution management, as well as enhancing biodiversity. Its responsible and transparent disclosures has led to inclusion in Dow Jones Sustainability Index for 4 successive years. It was ranked second in the Newsweek 2012 Global 500 Green Companies, enjoys leadership status in Carbon Disclosure Report, a LEED certified data center, has a sustainable campus, and a one of its kind biodiversity partnership with ATRI. For its continuous commitment and adherence to sustainability practices, benefiting present as well as future generations, and to sustainable development, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability is proud to honor Wipro Limited as company with the best CSR and sustainability practices Award 2014. A big round of applause to Wipro, ladies and gentlemen.
Could I please request Mr. P.S. Narayan, Vice President and Head Sustainability, Wipro Limited, to please come up on stage to receive the award.
This award is specifically conferred on the private sector.
Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it's with a deep sense of humility that, on behalf of Wipro, I accept this award. We are truly privileged and honored. Normally, when one talks about CSR, the connotation is with, social responsibility. But as the award citation and the name of the Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Business Responsibility indicates, a responsible business starts from, responsibility to its primary business stakeholders, to its employees, to its customers, to its suppliers, to its investors, and then it moves on to the outer circles of CSR. Responsible business cannot happen overnight. It happens because of deeply held convictions, because it is a way of life, because everybody thinks and lives, the principles of a responsible business day after day. So from that context, something that really is heartening is to note that the tenets of business responsibility have moved from a position, let's say about 20 years back, when it was probably optional, to something that is seen as imperative. And it's really exciting to be at a stage of this journey where, it's becoming more and more central to the agenda of businesses, something that everybody is trying to build up. So at Wipro, this is something that we have always been passionate about, right from our chairman, Mr. Premji, to our employees and to all functions. And we are really excited to be part of this journey with, our peers, industry, civil society, academia, government, and everybody. So on that short note, I will end my remarks here, and we're truly grateful for this honor. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today. Our next award is also for the company with the Best CSR and Sustainability Practices Award. And if I may please request Mr. Shashikiran Shetty, Managing Director, All Cargo Logistics, to please come up on stage to read the citation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Company with Best CSR and Sustainability Award 2014. An Indian state-controlled oil and gas company, it has been ranked 229th in the Fortune Global 500 rankings of the world's biggest corporations for the year 2013. With a vision to build a powerful partnership with society for sustainable development, it leverages its core competency of people and technology in creating sustainable communities that are replicable and scalable through focused and need-based interventions, not giveaways. In pursuance with their philosophy to give back to the society, community our best, it has adopted 37 villages across India. This adoption includes making substantial investments for nearly a decade and a half in them to make them fully self-reliant, providing them fresh drinking water, sanitation facilities, medical facilities, enhancing their income standards by imparting vocational training and agricultural innovations, and educating the young and the old with assistance from various NGOs. Project Boond, its flagship CSR program, which started with 4 villages in 2009 across southern India, has transformed more than 90 villages into water-positive dwellings. The initial focus to conserve water for drinking purposes evolved into increased availability of water for agriculture, livestock, and groundwater recharge. They successfully brought many drought-ridden farmers together by forming self-sustaining villages to create clean and rejuvenate tanks, well and defunct water bodies, thus reducing rainwater dependency and bringing increased revenue to the landless to around 80 villages across Maharashtra and Rajasthan too. Project Boon, expansion in scale and size, and its self-sustaining model has fetched it the coveted Excellence for Social Responsibility Award at World Petroleum Congress in Moscow in 2014. It continues to embrace technology to mitigate sustainability and climate change issues across business and has set targets for reducing its dependence on renewable energy resources and effective and efficient water management, one which is heavily dependent. For being a good corporate citizen and consistently contributing to sustainable development, leading to nation building, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability is proud to honor Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited with company with the best CSR and Sustainability Award 2014. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. S. Varatharajan, Chairman and Managing Director, BPCL, and Mr. S.P. Gattu, Director, HR, BPCL. So I request them to accept the honor.